Welcome back to Smile Jamaica. We have the artist Johnny Johnson with us, an American who joins us on set now to talk about his upcoming art exhibition celebrating the ties that bind, 50 years of friendship. We also have Yolonda Kerney, who is a public affairs officer with the U.S. Embassy. And the connection is that the U.S. ambassador, Mrs. Bridgewater, has a number of paintings done by Johnny Johnson in the official residence. And in fact, the exhibition will feature a number of those paintings from the residence. So you have it there. Now, he was also a significant contributor during the civil rights movement. Some people call him a civil rights artist, but I think that is slightly erroneous. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you.
And morning to you and welcome once again.
Thank you for having me.
Hopefully we'll have a few of the prints here to show. I remember going to a function at the U.S. Embassy and seeing some of your paintings and being struck largely by the use of color.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, Mrs. Bauer, the curator over at the Mutual Gallery, said when she saw my work, she said, well, he has been down to Jamaica before.
Must be.
Because of the colors that I use. I really don't know. I'm from a small town in North Carolina, in Virginia. I mean, in North Carolina, in the States. Mm-hmm. But we went to Virginia to teach over 50 years ago. And as a country boy, not having had art prior to going to college, I went to college to major in art without ever having any art lessons.
Well, why did you know or feel that that's what you wanted to do?
Well, I just always was into art, drawing. Nothing fantastic, but I just loved it. My mother said in the church when she used to hold me that I would draw in the air. Wow. And that some of the people in the church thought there was something wrong with the boy. Said, that boy is not right, you know. And when I was in high school, I was still drawing the air, but I would draw so that no one would see me. But I just would buy paper and I would just draw.
In the early days, would the use of color have been as present as it is now?
No, and really I don't know what the influence is. Jokingly, Mrs. Bauer said, well, maybe in your other life, you were in Jamaica.
Is it possible that having grown up, or not grown up, but having been a part of the civil rights movement, that it's a form of escapism of the color bars and color problems that were there?
I tell people I'm an experimenter, and I like to experiment with color. And back when I was at Howard working on my MFA, I was in a studio that it didn't have good lighting. And I would do some things and I would take them outside, and then I would quickly take them back inside because they were just too bad. I said, where in the world this came from? And so I don't know, I just love color. And, you know, when I was at Howard, I had a gentleman from Trinidad, a student. He came and he said, "Man, you make me feel at home." Mm-hmm. I said, "Well, why?" And he said, "Your color." And so it just, and that was like almost 40 years ago. And so it just has progressed to a point where I say sometimes I'm going to have to tone things down.
Did you have to tone things down? Did you have to stop painting during the movement?
No, I still was. And see, not being a nationally known artist, my work was mainly in Virginia in terms of what I did to foster appreciation for each other, the races coming together. I was in a Council on Human Relations. I became a life member of the NAACP. And so it was, and through my teaching, when the schools were integrated, I think I fostered, hopefully I did, people say I did, respect for each other. And I think I'm really proud of that.
Speaking of teaching, you were the first black teacher at Mary Washington College?
Yes.
And what would that have been like?
Well, it was okay. It's just that being the first black, it meant that everybody on the faculty knew me because I would stand out.
Yes.
And so it was kind of difficult for my wife because they would know that Johnny's wife was Jean. And so if you see a black woman with Johnny, that's Johnny, that's Jean.
Otherwise, Johnny's in trouble.
That's right.
The connection, as I mentioned, with the U.S. Embassy is that the paintings are there. Is there a connection between the ambassador and Mr. Johnson?
There is, but first, let me say that we're so pleased to be able to present Mr. Johnson in his first Caribbean exhibit at the Mutual Gallery. I don't want to forget that this evening is the launch. 5:30 is the reception. The actual exhibit starts at 6. It's true that Ambassador Bridgewater does own several pieces. Mr. Johnson was her high school art teacher, as it turns out. How nice to have a famous artist as an art teacher. Yeah. But his paintings have been part of Art and Embassy collections around the world. They've been exhibited in Africa. He's exhibited all over the United States. And as I said, this is his first exhibit in the Caribbean. So we're so happy that Jamaica is hosting.
Yeah. Question. During the 60s and so on, and you were presenting your art, and so what was the reaction divided along color lines, or did white art experts appreciate it as much as black?
Well, I don't know about experts, but I remember, you know, having, I painted sentimental things, mother and child, father and son, the experiences that I had with my mother in terms of being such a dynamic force in my life. I don't think it's a year that I have painted that 2 or 3 mother and child paintings, one way or the other. There's one in the exhibit at Mutual now that was an experimental one, and I called it Unconditional Love. And the images were mostly black. I think when I did the father and son with the that's not in this exhibit, it was to honor all fathers. And so the race does not jump out at you as such. It was just to honor, because the love for a Hispanic mother for her child is the same as a Jewish mother for her, as a white mother, a black mother, whatever. It's
love,
there.
Yeah.
Love is love.
Love knows no color.
Right.
What about in terms of the amount of work you produce now? Are you as prolific now as you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Well, since I call myself dumb, I am capable of saying yes, and I say yes to almost anybody. I donate an average of 20 paintings a year, in spite of the fact that you can't deduct that.
Right.
And I'm so busy. I've been retired from public teaching, public education since '91. And I just dreamed of working 40 hours a week painting and so forth. I'm pretty productive because that's just the way I've had to do it, because I don't have that much time. But I produce a lot, and I think I promised my wife that I'm going to be more serious. I'm going to slow down. I'm going to stop saying yes to everybody. And I'm hoping, I don't have any delusions of grandeur, but I'm hoping that I will present some things, paint some things that have more of an impact.
Okay. So the exhibition is launched this evening at Mutual.
At Mutual Gallery. It runs through the 17th.
Through to the 17th.
Yes.
And it's open to the public, is it
Open
not?
to the public, completely free. Come out and join us. And may I quickly say hello to our Facebook fans who are so loyal. Thank you, Facebookers.
And may I say just one thing?
Sure.
I said to you when I met you
Yes.
that I haven't met a grouch since I've been in Jamaica.
Right.
So anybody who's watching, try not to be a grouch so I can go back and say I did something that was unreal. I didn't meet a grouch.
To your credit, he said this after he'd met you, Simon.
Yeah, I must be slipping. But I've had the flu this week, so that's probably taken the edge of my grouchiness this week. But watch me, and you'll see the grouch that you need.
And I want to congratulate you all on your 50th year of independence.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The artist Johnny Johnson and Yolonda Kerney, Public Affairs Officer at the U.S. Embassy.